Hi guys, Sandy from the Paddle School here. In this video today, we're going to talk about testing your rackets. Now this is something that all players will have to do at some point because at some point you will need a new racket, and we always recommend testing your rackets before you buy them so that you know what you're choosing and you know what type of racket you're going to get. So in this video, I'm going to explain how I choose my rackets, and if you like this type of paddle content, please subscribe because we're going to produce a good video on paddle every single week. Now, when you go to the court, try and take all of the rackets that you're testing to the court with you at the same time so you can test them one after the other. Now, most of you will have the racket that you're playing with and you're just going to be testing one racket. So in that case, there's only two of them. You put one in the fence and then you play with the other one to test and see how similar it is to the racket that you're using. If you're testing 3 or 4 rackets at the same time, put them all in the fence like this, and then you can go and play with one of the rackets, and then you put it back and try the other one straight away. Now, I recommend taking a maximum of 3 or 4 rackets to the court at the same time, because if you've got more than that, it can be difficult to separate the feelings and remembering your feeling with each of the different rackets. There are 3 main things you want to test when you've got the rackets. First of all, the weight. Now, if you've got a scale, that's perfect, and you can actually weigh the racket on the scale, making sure that either you put the loop on the handle or it's off the end of the table so it's not affecting the weight. And you want to weigh all of your rackets so that you know the differences between them, and making sure when you do weigh them that they've all got the same number of overgrips on, because that will affect the weight. The second thing to focus on is the balance. Now, you can do this over the net or you can do this on your finger. You want to basically work out whether it's head heavy or whether it's handle heavy, or if it's kind of evenly balanced. And then the third thing is to test the hardness of the racket. Now, really, the only way to do this, and it's not very scientific, is to kind of hit it against your hand. And once you've done that a few times, you can kind of notice the slight difference in sound and also the feeling on the racket. The more you do this, the more you practice, the more you will notice those slight differences. When it comes to hitting on the court with the rackets, you want to do that in 3 main areas of the game. You want to hit ground strokes while your training partner is at net so that they're volleying back to you. Then you want to hit some volleys, so you're going to hit a few volleys with them at the back of the court, and then you want to hit some overheads, getting the feeling for the power of the racket when you're hitting the topspin smash and also with the vibra. Now, you want to try and do at least a few minutes in each of those areas to get a feeling for each of the rackets, but obviously if you've got longer and you can have the rackets for longer, then it is best to do as long as you can in each of those positions. So when it comes to the actual hitting, there's a few things that you want to think about. You want to basically see whether there's good power, good control, and also comfort. So the power is the bit where you're attacking, you're at the front of the court, aggressive volleys, aggressive smash, and you want to see how the racket responds to those shots. Then you've got the control, which is from the back of the court where you're hitting the lobs, or if you're at the front of the court hitting drop shots, and you get the feeling on the ball. And then the comfort is more about how you feel with the racket. It's not jarring on your elbow or your shoulder, and it feels nice to hit with. Those are the 3 main areas that you've got to think about when you're using the racket. Players often just like the feeling of a new racket. So when you're playing or you're testing, try and be as objective as possible. See if it suits the way you play, rather than just enjoying having a new racket, because what happens is players buy that racket and then they don't like it, and then they're often looking for a new racket pretty soon after that. Now, we've got loads of information on the website, Paddleschoolcom. I'm going to put the link in the description down below, and we're talking about how to choose rackets, how to save money when you're choosing rackets, and lots of videos that back those up.